Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our community series where we have conversations with leaders in the Blount County area. We are joined today by Dr. Becky Stone. She is the new Director of Schools. Is that the right title I should use for you, Becky?
That's correct. Yes. I'm not a doctor though, so I don't want to take credit for that. Thank you though.
Well, welcome to our conversations, and appreciate you making time to have a conversation with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invite.
So if I could, one of the things that we're trying to do is really get an understanding from our local leaders on what changes COVID has had on their operations. And if I could, talk to me a little bit about when COVID started to affect Tennessee. We saw it coming over from another country and, of course, across the U.S., and then it made its way to Tennessee. And talk to us a little bit about how the schools reacted in the process you went through.
Sure. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, when the big wave came through and the decision to close schools came through, we were on spring break. Now, certainly that started, we were very much aware of COVID-19 before we left for spring break. And there was lots of discussion, but the big wave hit while we were already out. And that, I guess maybe that's good and bad, because we never really went back. So when our students and staff left for spring break, especially, I keep talking about our seniors a lot, but especially our seniors, they thought they would be coming back to school. They thought they would be, out for their week of spring break, and then they would be returning with their friends and their teachers and to finish a school year. And so that was a shock to system. That was a shock, especially to those seniors, to those senior parents. It was a shock to a lot of our teachers. But at that time when that decision was made, obviously that was the safest decision to make. And then we met as a system group, our leadership teams, and decided sort of where we would go from there. And really at that point waited from a lot of to get some guidance and from our State Department and see the direction we needed to go. So we just put everything on hold for a couple of weeks, still communicating with our students. We already do a lot, even in a regular school year. We do Google Classroom. So our students are very familiar with that. They're very familiar with, if they're absent and things like that, they get a lot of stuff on a Google Classroom platform. So we continue to communicate with our students. We continue to communicate with our faculty and staff and parents and the community, but didn't have a lot of direction in the beginning. And soon thereafter, when some guidelines were released, we were ready, not as ready as we would have liked to have been, but we set up some days where students who did not have a Chromebook could come and get a Chromebook at any of our schools. Our teachers were prepared. Our teachers were phenomenal. Our teachers and staff were phenomenal through all of this. And then each school really made their decisions what this would look like for them, with expectations of making contact with every student at weekly. And for those students that we had difficulty making contact with, we would do home visits. And so that was the primary goal at that point, and did not want any student to suffer, their grade to suffer due, to this unfortunate pandemic. So really kept grades, unless they wanted to improve a grade, they kept the grade that they had when they left. But several of our students, took the opportunity to work alongside the teacher and really improve the grade. And I think it, in a horrible circumstance, I think it really worked out well due to some hardworking teachers and staff, and it made the best of a not so good situation.
That's great that everyone stayed engaged, and really, it's nice to hear the students taking an opportunity that was afforded them to try to improve their grades and continue to work at it.
Yeah, they did.
Talk to us a little bit about graduation. I know that's been a
Mm.
hot topic we've seen in the news and that sort of thing, of how different school systems are dealing with graduation for their seniors. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, again, for me, coming from the high school, that's been the hardest pill for me to swallow. I'll just be honest. I've been hurt for all of our students throughout our system, but the seniors have really, that's crushed my heart a little bit for them, and have been staying in contact with them up until about the last week. I've been doing Google meetings with my seniors once a week, just talking with them, anybody that wants to get on, and we've had great participation in that. Just talking with our seniors about kind of what's on their heart and what their concerns are, and just trying to reassure them that we're going to make it through and that they're going to get a graduation. We weren't real sure what it was going to look like, but I tell you, we continued. We set a date, then we we didn't think that was going to happen, so we'd push it back a little farther. Every time I spoke with with my seniors, they were just adamant. I would give different options of virtual graduations and,
Wow.
just different options. They want their traditional graduation. And they are set on that. They won't hear anything else. So the last order from the governor that came out saying, stating that that the electronic meetings, we're going to cease after June 30th, and you could go back to meeting again. That gave us some hope that possibly we could do a traditional graduation in July. So we chose our date based on students coming back for next school year. That would be the start of our next school year. So we knew teachers would be in town and hopefully lots of families. So right now our graduation is scheduled for Saturday morning, July 18th.
Oh, wow. That's great.
We plan, fingers crossed, lots of prayers, that we're going to have a traditional graduation for our seniors. Right now, they actually came yesterday and picked up a lot of their graduation items, and we gave each of them 4 tickets. And right now, we're saying that they have 4 tickets for family members to come in, each one of them. However, if things open up and they can have more, we will definitely allow them more at that time.
That's great.
Obviously taking those precautions,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in an environment that we're all having to wait and see what Governor Lee comes forward with to try to open our state up. So I don't think any of us would expect more from the school systems. We're really having to watch what the CDC and the governor come up with for us. So totally understandable. Have you all had any students or staff that have contracted COVID that you've had to deal with any of that quarantine issue with them or anything?
No, thank goodness. We have not. If there's been anybody, we certainly have not known about it. So for the most part, up until the last week or so, we've pretty much stayed out of our schools.
Okay.
Even teachers, we've given them specific times over the last couple of weeks that they could come in, and then started to open it up a little bit. Our sports teams have started practicing 10 at a time.
Okay.
And really social distancing their groups, nobody being together. And obviously as our teachers come in, even if students come in for like our pickup days with our seniors yesterday, we have PPEs available for them. We have the mask, we have lots of hand sanitizer, we have gloves available. And, I tell my teachers, any of them that come in can certainly, wear the gloves, wear the mask, anything that they feel comfortable with.
So you touched on just a little bit about the summer that you are seeing some student athletes come in and practice and that sort of thing. Are there any planned online summer school options or activities on that angle of the school system plan?
We always offer a 2-week summer school. Now, typically it's an in-person. They come to our school. They will do a credit recovery, and that's mostly what that is. It's just a credit recovery, and especially for a senior or a junior who has possibly not been successful in a class that they're going to have.
Sure.
This year, we did our 2 weeks as well, and had several students participating, but it was online.
Okay.
And it was not, it was using our Plato system. And one of our teachers, well, the same teacher that would normally facilitate that, Mr. Adams, he facilitated the summer school.
Okay. Do you all have, I don't expect you to have a crystal ball, but what are your thoughts on moving forward for fall? Any thoughts of what this school calendar year may look like? Would you start earlier to give yourself some bandwidth of if you had to close or for any reason, or talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on the fall semester?
Well, we already, we work on a balanced schedule, so we already start pretty early. If we use our schedule, and we hope to, I'll just say that we hope to continue with the schedule that we have right now, the calendar we have right now. Our teachers would return Wednesday, July 15th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then our first day for our students would be the following Wednesday, July 22nd.
Wow.
Now,
Okay.
currently, we're making plans to continue with that until we get, further guidelines. And we feel certain, obviously, that there will be some more guidance from our State Department and from Governor Lee that will lead us in how to do that, or we'll have to have another option. And we have a committee together now currently that meets, and they are putting together different plans. So we will have a couple of different options, maybe 3 different options, depending on what those guidelines are, and that one of those options will fit into that.
Okay.
So the plan now, we would start, that first day would be for teachers, but what we would like to do, if we are able to go with that calendar, obviously we would allow students or teachers to wear face masks if that's what they chose to do. We will have lots of hand sanitizer available. We've already ordered cases and cases of hand sanitizer. We've ordered backpack disinfectant, that we will make certain that, the school is cleaned each evening. So if we do that first day back for teachers is the 15th. What we would like to do is to possibly do a half day for students on that day and let them return to the school and classroom that they were in the spring. That
Oh,
they
wow.
left.
Okay. Yeah.
Just to give some closure. It's not that big of a deal for high school students because they're gonna, besides our seniors, they're gonna be back in that same building, possibly with some of the same teachers. But for those younger students, who really didn't get any closure, we had turn-in days where they could bring things back. But if they didn't get to attend those, this would allow them to turn books in, turn items in, say goodbye to that teacher. And then when they come back on the 22nd, they would start their first full day at their respective school for that school year.
That's really thoughtful. Very thoughtful.
That just, I think more than anything, that was the pain. There was no closure. There was no closure for a lot of these kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think that's important for them. And so that's our plan right now. Now, obviously, like I said, we do have a committee working, and they will put together, similar to what I think Maryville may be looking at this as well, but for students who maybe are immune compromised or don't feel comfortable starting back, we're looking at an option to allow them to do something digitally with different accountability measures, and hopefully it will be a little more seamless than it was when we had to kind of pull something together quickly in the spring.
Yeah, you had mentioned there a group. Talk to me a little bit about your team, of who's that's comprised of, as you all look at the different school systems and make these type of decisions.
Sure. Well, our team consists of Dr. John Campbell, and he's our He's our technology supervisor, and he's heading that committee up for our system. And then there's an administrator teacher from each school in our system who is participating on that and really driving that. They're getting information from our State Department, from other local agencies. You know, we always collaborate with Maryville and Blount County and Knox County just to kind of see what they're doing as well. So everybody's somewhat on the same track. You know, nobody's out in left field by themselves, doing something completely and totally different. And so just getting a lot of feedback and pulling in what would work for us. You know, especially in times like this, it's somewhat of a blessing. We're such a smaller system than anybody around. You know, we have about 2,100 students in our system, and so it allows for us to think a little bit more out of the box, just because we are so much smaller.
Sure.
But that group, that committee, is working hard to bring forth some options for us to look at, and we'll have some plans. We'll be ready to go. Our kids, you know, we feel like our kids, our families, they've kind of suffered through this enough with us, and we want to take care of them, and we want those parents to know that we have some plans in place to keep them as safe as possible when we return, and some options for those who cannot return.
Any thoughts on the athletic programs in the fall, of any impact with, you've got, you know, stadiums and the basketball facilities, any thoughts there?
You know, honestly, we've had lots of thoughts. Some of them are not very good and don't sit very well with some of our coaches. And honestly, you know, obviously that's been on our minds. With football season right around the corner. I mean, honestly. And again, right now, we hope and we plan to move forward as planned until we hear something differently. And it might look very different. You know, our football coach, Coach Rankin, was just talking the other day that he heard some folks out in West Tennessee saying that they feel like football season might be a spring sport next year, which will impact a lot. Wow. So I don't know. So there's been lots of talk and lots of even things like that being said. And so again, it's just a big waiting game, and that's the hard part. But we'll be ready. I feel confident that we'll be ready for whatever's thrown at us this time, and we'll make the best out of a bad situation. That's about all we can do. Just keeping in mind that we're going to do what's best for our kids.
Yeah, that's great. Is, from a community perspective, is there anything that the school systems could really utilize from the community at large, or from the business community, of trying to help the school system through this situation?
Well, I think, and let me go on record to say this. You know, our community has been wonderful supporting us through this. We've gotten a lot of support with our feeding program. My food service department has been phenomenal. Jumped right in immediately, started making plans to feed our community, because sometimes those students really look forward to being at school, because that's one of the best meals they get. You know, unfortunately. Wow. So through the end of June, from the very beginning, and it's going to go until the end of June, maybe even into July, my food service department has been feeding our students, anybody in the Alcoa community with kids, every Monday and Wednesday. And wow. They do a drive-through, and they put everything together on Tuesdays. They do a hot meal on Wednesday, and they bag things up and they come through. Our school system has been full of volunteers with teachers and staff helping with that. We have a couple of churches who come in and help volunteer with that, because it's taken a ton of folks to put this together and keep it running. We have local restaurants who have donated things for the hot meal on Wednesday. Walmart has donated bags each time to bag everything up and hand it out. So we've had a ton of community support, and that's what's helped make that program so successful, because they feed each week. They may give out up to 4,000 bags of food.
Wow, that's incredible.
Oh, it's been phenomenal. And Tina Roy, our food service director, she has just been, I tell her she's crazy good. She is a little crazy. This has made her a little more crazy. But she is adamant, along with our cafeteria managers. They have Tara Insminger, the cafeteria manager at the high school. She's just really pulled together. Lisa Henry, one of the teachers at the high school, she put it all together. She keeps the volunteers rolling in. She really works with the community to get the support, and that's been phenomenal for us. So we appreciate all of that community support. And I think as we move forward, just helping us with communication, and just helping us to be supportive and flexible when that need arises.
We can take for granted being here and in this wonderful community that there are those that struggle with having a decent meal, and it's hard to develop and learn if you're hungry. And what a noble effort that your team and the community has done to make sure that those folks are fed and well treated. So thank you very much for that. That is so great to hear.
Well, they're wonderful. Like I said, I work with an amazing group of people in Alcoa City. They're amazing.
So with your work in Alcoa City, you're kind of new to this role. How long have you been in this role now?
Well, I'm not even officially in this role yet.
That's very new.
It doesn't officially change until July 1.
Okay.
But that hat has certainly been on for a little bit, with the help and guidance of Dr. Bell. He's fabulous. We are all very saddened to see him leave, but we're all very jealous as well. We know he's ready, and he's going to go do some great things for him now. But his last day will be around the middle of June. Okay. And but we've already sort of moved offices. My replacement at the high school is in, and he's great and has hit the ground running with our team there. But it's a difficult transition. Just in the job itself, but really during this time, it's been a little difficult for both of us. I would get on Dr. Bell a little bit and say, "This is awful. I don't get to have, my last graduation as a principal." And he said, "Well, what do you think about me? I'm kind of going out as a, I don't get to experience any of those things." So we joke about it and laugh as often as we can. But he's been a great mentor to me, and he's been wonderful to transition with. It saddens me, obviously, that I wasn't able to truly shadow him in a regular situation these last few months. But he's worked hard to make me as ready as I can, and with a lot of assistance and a lot of prayers, we'll get through all this, and it'll be good. Like I said, I have an amazing group of folks around me in Alcoa City, and it takes all of us. This is my title may be director, but I tell you, it's the team that really makes everything work.
Well, you're definitely equipped for the task at hand, and Dr. Bell has done a great job. He's been a close friend of the Blount Partnership and the community, and I am sure, with no doubt, that you will fill his shoes and even chart maybe some new opportunities and new directions for the system too. As we were mentioned before, COVID kind of allows you to do different things. And so we're all having to think out of the box, and you guys are clearly doing that to adapt. So kudos to you and your team.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Ms. Stone, that's all we've got time for today. Appreciate your time of having this conversation. For those that are interested in our community conversation, please make sure to join us next time. Without further ado, I bid you farewell. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.